Beatles, widows, boys and ghouls, how are we all doing? Recently I've shown that there seems to be a decline in the fake paranormal, a little bit of an incline in the real paranormal, a bit more support in the real paranormal. While the fake paranormal is on the decline, the real paranormal, even the small channels, are either plateauing or gaining, which is far better than losses. And as a debunker and an investigator, this is very important to me because I don't debunk just to say everything is fake, nothing is real. I debunk because I have a belief in the paranormal. Some people are new to the channel, they may not be aware of this, because I recently did a podcast for the Paranormal Monkey podcast, and a lot of people were like, wow, I didn't know Beardo believed in the paranormal. And you know, the channel's over a year old, not everyone watched my original videos, so there you go. I happen to believe in the paranormal, I just don't believe in all the fake cack that's out there. And some of you that have been around for a while will remember, about a year and a half ago, I really got on the wrong side of Caspersight. And I'm not going to rake over old ground and all the rest of it, but basically I was like, why is he just promoting fake channels? Why is it always the fake channels? The obviously fake channels. And Ben from Laney and Ben put something out there. I took it at face value, went a Caspersight for it, like he was in control of the fake paranormal, and it was a load of shit. It started like a fan-based warfare, and I learned a lot from that. And I've since apologised to Caspersight from that on a live stream. And I'm aware that Caspersight reached out through a mutual friend to say, I don't have a problem with Beardo. I saw his apology. I accept his apology. He's got to do what he's got to do. I appreciate him apologising. All good. And I'm like, if I'm going to sit here, fake this, fake that, that's fake, this is fake, that's fake, then, yeah, somebody is going to be the other end going, oh wow, he's a reaction channel, not a paranormal channel. And I got too caught up in my own growth and my own build-up and what I think the paranormal should be. Does that mean that I agree with everything Caspersight says and does? No. And why should I? We're all people at the end of the day. We have different personalities, different belief systems, and that is absolutely fine. But recently I noticed Caspersight is featuring more of the UFOs and things like that than he used to, which, you know, it doesn't mean that he's suddenly less of a believer than he was. It's just, it's not what the views are for him, which is fine. So I didn't really watch Caspersight for a while because I got miffed at all these people coming at me, and then obviously he did the right thing and said, look, stop going to this other creator and spreading hate. This isn't what my message was about, etc. And I appreciated that. Recently he featured the Ouija brothers on two separate occasions. One was the I Love You video, which is incredible. The 30 East Drive video with the chest compression, which is one of the most bizarre things I have ever seen.
That just said, I love you?
No. Shush.
Oh. Get it out. Get it. Look at you. Huh? Look at you, mate. What the actual F is going on in this freaky deaky castle, baby? Come on!
Obviously, watching Caspersight react to, you know, the I love yous, he can do his usual Caspersight, and running about like I've just shown. Watching Griff seemingly be pressed down into a bed could give Caspersight that what the F moment, mate, chicken nipple, chicken skin, and all that sort of stuff, which is very entertaining. My daughter adores Caspersight's channel. She watches it all the time. But then I saw a thumbnail for, is this what paranormal really is? The Ouija brothers. I don't recognise the house in the thumbnail. Why do I recognise that house in the thumbnail? Spoongate. Yep, that's right. It's the same house somebody threatened to cave my skull in that. This isn't what that's about. But when I saw the thumbnail, I was like, ooh, I wonder how Caspersight is going to react to this. Because nothing paranormal happened. Yes, it was windy. Yes, it is a creepy looking building. And when me and the boys from Real Evidence went, we had somebody walking about upstairs, and it was not a windy night. Unfortunately, we never got to investigate there because, Spoongate. So I watched the Caspersight video, and he starts the video off, and he's very much Caspersight, you know, yeah, very, very animated, very, very high energy, great. I wish I had his energy, I really do. I don't. But then you see him settle into the video, and then he's like, And then you see him start to question things, and he's like, but could that be Could that be the peeper in that room? Could that be this? Could it be that? Interesting. And then you see him, he's on edge, but he's not reacting as he normally does. And then it gets to the end, nothing happens, and he's like, I almost wish they would fake things, just so you get that payoff, but don't, because it held me. And this is what I have been saying for as long as I've been on YouTube now. It is so much more harder for teams like the Ouija Brothers, Ghosts on Trent, Dead Cold, and all of the others that I shout out fairly regularly. It is so much harder for them to put out a video when nothing happens and keep it entertaining. That's why there's B-roll shots in there that look of such a high quality. It is to make up for the lack of paranormal, because those channels don't fake. I don't fake. It's hard to make a compelling 30 minute to an hour video when nothing happens. That's why apps are used. I'm stepping away from apps and possibly most of the equipment for a while, because I want to investigate in a different way. But to watch Caspersight reacting to this and seeing him so enthralled and at points quiet, but his eyes are wide and he's just like, oh, what's that, mate? What's that, mate? What's that, mate? The tension build. And even though that tension build is never paid off, he's at the end like, it's real. That's a real investigation. Nothing has happened, but I was entertained. I was entertained for the full 40 or 50 minutes, whatever the video is. Now, Caspersight making a video on the Ouija Brothers when nothing happened and showing how entertained he was by that, by describing why he was so entertained and then being like, oh, you should have faked it. No, don't fake it, don't change. That is fantastic. That is 124,000 people viewed that video. Potentially, a lot of those people have never ever seen the Ouija Brothers before and have potentially never ever watched a real paranormal investigation before. And this isn't me taking slights at Ghost Theory, who he's also featured. I'm just completely leaving them out of the conversation because I just don't want to start World War III on my opinions of them. This is huge for the paranormal. Having a channel, I mean, Caspersight has 748,000 subscribers, and this is now the third video he's made on the Ouija Brothers. This is supporting real paranormal, and the amount of times in that video where Caspersight says about fake and real, these guys are real. It seems like Caspersight has come around to, there's a lot of fakery out there, there's a lot of bullshit out there. This is real. And that can only be a good thing for the real paranormal, the Ouija Brothers, and the debunkers, because most of the debunkers, if not all of the debunkers, shout out the Ouija Brothers as a real, legitimate channel. And this is great news. I also moderate for the Ouija Brothers on their live streams. So, the Ouija Brothers do a live stream the following Wednesday, and they react to two videos. One is a Mythos video about the real paranormal versus ghost hunting. And then they react to Caspersight reacting to them in this house. And Caspersight turns up in the chat. He says, hang on, I'll be back. And then he posts out on Twitter, hey, Ouija Brothers are live right now, and they're reacting to my reaction. Come and say hi and whatever. I was like, that's cool of him. And I'm thinking, do I even have a right to speak to Caspersight in this chat? Because, you know, I pissed him off once. One way to get a measure of him, I suppose. So I sort of, at Caspersight, good to see you here. How, you know, great to see your video on this real paranormal channel. Caspersight responded very nicely, pleasantly. And then he says, wow, there's 4 debunking channels in here. And I'm like, well, yeah, there's a real paranormal community that the debunkers are fully in support of. So Caspersight hangs around and he's talking to everyone, he's interacting with everyone, and, you know, for the most part, everyone is really happy to see Caspersight there because he's such a big channel that could help with the smaller channels. Because in with him finding the Ouija Brothers and making 3 different videos on the Ouija Brothers, is there a chance he could now look at Ghosts on Trent? Dead Cold Paranormal, Real Evidence, Staffordshire Paranormal, I Conjure, you know, all of these channels that I shout out over and over and over again as the real paranormal. Is there a chance that Caspersight could now start looking into those channels and being like, this is interesting. Very rarely do they capture things, but look at the effort they're putting in. This is a real investigation. And maybe look at videos where they think they've captured something and been like, this is amazing because I've watched these guys and not a lot happens, but this is something incredible. And I think that could give a much needed boost to these smaller teams, to the real paranormal investigators that are out there, the guys that are doing the hard work without the big payoff. Because I've said it on my lives a lot, I've said it in a few videos recently, the channels that I promote, Ouija Brothers aside, go out week after week after week after week after week and capture very little evidence, but they still go out week after week after week, and they ain't walking around like some of these huge YouTubers using a mobile phone. They're using £500 to £600 night vision cameras like the Sony AX53 that I've bought. Most of us use them because they're damn good cameras, but they don't just have one. They have two, sometimes three. Then you have to buy the DJI mics. A lot of them have got drones. I'm getting a drone soon. You've got your editing software, your PC, because when you're recording in 4K and it comes to editing, it takes a bit of time. It takes a lot of time to upload. And these people have children, jobs, lives. They work full time. They go out and then they have to edit somewhere in the region of 30 to 60 hours per week to get in a episode put out every week. Not forgetting the travelling, the times at these locations, whether they're abandoned or paid for. All for it, maybe 100 views for some of them. Some of them will hit 1,000 views. Some of them may hit a couple of thousand views. And still, week after week after week, they're out there doing this with little to no payoff. That is a love of the paranormal. That is a real love of the real paranormal. Not just, I want to be YouTube famous, so I'm going to fake everything. It's so much easier to go out there with your mobile phone, a pocket full of fishing wire, on a two-way radio to click to make your devices go off, pull doors and all the rest of it. You can spend a fraction of the time in these buildings, make all hell break loose, throw a couple of coins off camera, job done. And some of those, they do all of that, and still they ain't happy, and then they have to go make up stories about locations that aren't true, Mosaji. Oh yeah, Mosaji, where is that video? Who've gone? You still haven't apologised to the homeowners, have you? So the reason I wanted to make this video is, it falls in line with what I've been saying about the fake paranormal on the decline, the real paranormal plateauing or raising. That's all good. It's also for me to put out there, you know, the issues I had with Caspersight, they're not relevant. They haven't been relevant for a long time. I had people in my ear and I shouldn't have listened. You can not enjoy Caspersight's more hyperactive, if you like, persona. You can not enjoy that. That's personal taste. That's absolutely fine. But we can appreciate that he's looked and hasn't said, oh, that was boring. That was crap. I'm going to stick with list, I don't know, Midwest Ghost Hunter, Mindseed, whoever. He didn't do that. He was like, this is real. This is how the real paranormal investigators are working. These guys are real. And of course he says, you know, some people are going to have a different opinion. Absolutely fine. We're allowed opinions. All of us. Both sides of the fence. But genuinely, I hope he looks at the other teams. I don't ever care if he ever looks at my channel, any of my investigations, never mentions me, never speaks to me. I honestly don't care. But I think he could do so much good for the real investigators out there. The guys going out there week after week. I'd love to see him react to those, maybe give those guys a bit of a boost. And Caspersight, if you do happen to see this, please, 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 please. That was my Caspersight impression. It was piss poor. Go and check out the likes of Ghost on Trent, Real Evidence, and, you know, I've got a full playlist. You don't have to watch the playlist properly, but have a look at the channels that a lot of the community consider to be real. He's had a taste of the debunking community and the real paranormal community, because for the most part, we all mesh. We all sit in the same camp, and he's seen that, and he's commented on that in the live. He was kind of like, 4 debunkers on a paranormal video. And they're loving it. Wow. So I hope this bleeds over into the other channels that I support and the channels I enjoy. They could do with a boost. And Caspersight could do some real good to the paranormal here. Because whether you believe his reactions or not, he has a passion for the paranormal. It must be exhausting to be that energetic and sitting through all the crap that he has to sit through. How do I know? Because I sit through a lot of the same crap he does and roll my eyes, and I delete videos on a regular. I'll start recording reactions to certain top 5 channels and I delete them because I'm like, this is crap. There's nothing in there that's remotely believable. But that's just because I'm a very cynical person. Caspersight be that engrossed into a Ouija Brothers video is fantastic. And I could see him being just as engrossed with the other channels that I shout out. I think it's fantastic. I think it's really good. And I hope that he looks at more channels. I really do, because they deserve the love. He has a very big following that he could sort of just help out a few of the smaller channels. And I hope he does. This isn't like a, if he doesn't if he doesn't, he's an asshole or nothing like that. It's just I wonder if he would. And if he does, I wonder what impact it would have on these channels. Because seemingly he's not as on board with the fake stuff as he was. And he's starting to see it, because I stopped watching Caspersight for a long time. But I've started to look again. And he's far more likely to call things out and go, nah, mate, bullshit, mate. And that's great. That is great for his audience. And now when his audience start to see things like the Ouija Brothers and the other more real channels, it's going to be less of a culture shock to them. And he could promote these real channels without the drama associated that I have. A lot of people think that I'm trying to set people off against each other, or I'm promoting certain people to shit on others, and that's not the case. But because of what I do, there's always a what is he up to about me? Whereas with Caspersight, for the most part, people adore the guy, and he has no stakes either end. He's got no argument either end. So he could promote them with a much bigger audience than what I've got, or what I could probably ever get. And he could also do it without this stigma of toxic debunker, trying to build an army. He could avoid all of that because he's not a debunker. He is a reaction channel. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. And please don't go giving Caspersight any shit, because I know that I kicked a lot of the grief off that he was getting. And he in turn inadvertently sent a lot of grief my way. We both asked people to stop, and they did. And there was one or two people like fucking Caspersight. And I'm like, oh, come on. The guy doesn't have to promote anyone. He doesn't have to do these shout outs. He doesn't have to turn up in the premieres and the live streams. And he does. You know, I've seen Caspersight turn up in Purple live streams. I've seen Caspersight turn up in Mr. Grey live streams. And he's a very pleasant man, and he has always interacted with me in those chats. And even though I brought that video out on Caspersight, you know, the one with the Puppet Master and all that, even though I brought that video out, when he turns up in a Mr. Grey live stream, when he turns up in a Purple live, when he turns up in a Ouija Brothers live stream, he interacts with me. He speaks to me. He interacts with the community. He speaks with the community. He tries to get around as many people as he can in the comments. And that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I appreciate everything that he has done for the Ouija Brothers. And in turn, hopefully, this knock-on effect into the real paranormal. It's fantastic. And an extra thank you to the Ouija Brothers for keeping it real for 7 years. Taking 7 years to get to 100,000 subscribers when they were told they would never ever make it by channels that made it by faking it. They were told for years, do what we do or your channel's dead. Do what we do or you'll never grow. You'll never get anywhere. Now look at them. Not only are they over 100,000 subscribers, but their views are eclipsing channels that are much bigger than theirs. They may have a bigger subscriber count, but the views are not quite there. And that's because people are waking up to it now. There are so many debunking channels out there where, as a year ago, there were 3 of us. There are so many channels that are not debunking channels, but sit in the realms of debunking for the most part. Reaction channels that debunk. And now Caspersight sort of starting to see this side of the community, to interact with this side of the community. It's fantastic as far as I'm concerned. I sort of posted the other day, para-unity. Para-unity for all. And I'm like, there is no para-unity for all when there are fakers and the real. The real paranormal content creators are not going to sit there and be like, you know what? We have to get along with these fakers. Let's just go work with them. They can fake and we can be real, but we can all just get along. Because for the most part, we don't view each other in the same camp. We don't view each other in the paranormal. Like the real teams, I view as paranormal channels. The fakers, I don't. I view as content creators trying to pass themselves off as what these smaller, real channels do. And then they spice it up for views. I've got far more respect for people not spicing their footage up. General rule of thumb, if they capture something every week, they're full of shit. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the comment section down below. Much love to you all. Beardo out.